Hello, and welcome to this live stream. First of all, I do have to apologize as it seems that I tried to go live an hour early from the planned live that I had, and well, things didn't work out quite as I had expected because the software that I was using decided not to go live early. So I was actually talking to myself. So I decided what I would do is I would delete the original live. And what I would do is I would go live 30 minutes beforehand. And now that I've rehearsed the actual webinar, it's going to be so much better. So first of all, welcome along to this webinar. If you're watching live, do let me know. Do leave a comment. If you are watching the replay, which hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be a replay, also let me know. And I, of course, am Richard Coacher Butler. And I'm here to talk about goal setting, because goal setting is something that is really, really important, in my opinion. Because you see, what happens is a lot of the times we don't know what we're doing in life. I mean, we get thrown into a job. Let's step back. We get thrown into a college course because everybody else in your family did law and you decide to do law or become a teacher, whatever it may be. And you don't think a lot about why you're actually where you are. And the honest reason of why you are where you are is because that's the path you took. But it might be the path that you wanted to take. And that's fine, because we can always reinvent ourselves. Now, when I created the original live, I said that what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you how to do more by doing less. And I think one of the problems with goal setting is that people tend to try and do too much and reach too many goals. And you know what happens? They end up reaching none of them. So that's the first thing, that you should start simple goals. I mean, I've listened to all of the great gurus. I mean, from my time anyway, with the Zig Ziglars and the Tony Robbins and all of those. And a lot of the times they say create, mega massive goals, because that's the best way to do it. And I say, hey, Philip, actually, how are you doing? No, I say you have to set goals which are right for you. And I'm going to show you a technique that you've probably heard of before, but I've just made a change to it. And it will help you set better goals. So the first thing that we have to really do is we have to define what is goal setting. So goal setting is simply having an objective that you want to reach. That's it. That objective can be anything, and that objective is personal to you. Okay? You can't look at somebody else and say, oh, that's my objective to be like Elon Musk. Although I personally wouldn't like to be like Elon Musk. But I mean, you can't set your objective based on somebody else. You have to base it on yourself because you are unique. And when you know this objective, what you want to do is create a roadmap to reach that objective. So it's like when you go in your car and you're going off into new territory, somewhere that you've never driven before. You don't just drive down the road and hope that you will arrive there, because if you go out without having an objective, how do you know when you've reached that particular place? Now, if you have any questions, do let me know and I'll answer all of your questions. We'll be here for about 30 minutes or so. So you want to create a roadmap to reach your goals. Now, interestingly enough, I was in a discussion, and apologies if I sniffle a little bit because I do have a bit of a cold. I was in a discussion in a group, and I said to somebody, do you know how much you need to be charging per hour for your services in order to reach your goal? And they said, oh, I've never thought about that. So, I mean, if your goal is to work just 15 hours a week freelancing, you need to know what your income is and what income you want to earn. I mean, if you want to earn 1,500 and you just want to work 10 hours a week, then you need to be charging 150 euros an hour for your actual services. But a lot of people don't even realize that. I always say to people, it's common sense, but common sense is not so common, which is obviously the problem. Now, in a poll that I did on LinkedIn, people responded, I think it was 87% of people responded that they did actually want to set goals for the next year. And I think if you set a goal, you have an objective, and you're more likely to reach something, whatever that something is. I mean, if, and I'm talking to you, my HR community, if you are in the company and the boss says that we need to increase headcount, I mean, you're always going to ask for, well, how many people do you want? You're always going to ask about your KPIs for the year. How many people do you have to be able to place? How many people do you have to be able to do this and that, etc.? So you need to have a goal to reach something. You need to be able to reach your objective. And once you know your objective, you can work backwards. I mean, I remember when I worked in Hayes recruitment, we knew the metrics of how many business development calls had to be made in order to close a meeting. So if you made 1,000 business development calls, you knew that you would be able to close X amount of meetings. If you closed X amount of meetings, you knew that you would get X amount of jobs. If you got X amount of jobs, you knew that you would be able to close X amount of jobs. So we need to have metrics. Now, if that makes sense, let me know. And while you're answering that question, I'm just going to blow my nose. So I do apologize. I mean, the thing is, if you're working for a company, you shouldn't be working without objectives. You have a goal in place, and you know whether you have reached that goal or not, because you have benchmarks during the year that they say, oh, you're not achieving your goal. You haven't reached your potential yet, etc. So it is so important to make sure that you have a goal so that you can have a roadmap. Okay. Now, one of the problems with goals is, and I'm talking from a personal point of view, is people set a goal for somebody else. And you say, what does that mean? And what I mean by that is people set a goal for their partner. I need to give up smoking because my partner isn't happy with me smoking. I need to give up smoking because my kids have told me they don't like me smoking. Now, that's not a good goal to set, because maybe, and I've met people who have tried to give up smoking, but they say, I really enjoy smoking and I don't want to give it up. I'm not here to judge anybody. If they don't want to give up smoking, that's fine. So they're not setting the goal for themselves. They're setting it for somebody else. So the first thing that you need to do with your goal setting is identify your values and your priorities. Okay, what is your values? Or what are your values? Well, my values are that, I always want to be a good person. Okay, my goal is to lead the company to take over all the small independent stores that are in my area. Well, maybe that goal doesn't sit well with you because your values are to be good to people. So think about that. I mean, if you haven't achieved your goals up to now, maybe the goal that you set doesn't sit well with your values. I mean, one of my values is freedom. So if I set a goal and say, I want to be earning 60,000 a month, well, that's not going to sit well with me, because that means I have to give up my freedom. And one of my values, one of my priorities is freedom. So I have to look at that goal. The second thing that you must do is you must set SMART goals. Now, we're going to talk about SMART goals, and I'm going to talk about them slightly differently to what everybody else says, okay? But you need to set a SMART goal. And that's all I'm going to say about SMART goals. Then you need to make a plan. And please, as I said, if you have any questions, do let me know. Then you need to make a plan of how you are going to achieve that goal. And I would break this down into, I mean, if you say I want to earn 120,000 a year, okay, how many months do you want to work? Well, I only want to work 10 months. Okay, so you need to be making 12,000 a month. Ooh, that's a lot of money. But if you break that down, that's 4,000 a week. That's 4,000 a week, 4, 8. That is 5,000. No, math was my strong subject. But let's make it simple. 10,000 a month. Okay. That means then that in order to make 10,000 a month, you need to make 2,500, if I'm correct, a week. Okay. So if I want to only work 10 hours, I need to be charging 250 euros for 10 hours of work. Now, that doesn't sound as bad as when I said I want to earn, and again, let's even it off, 100,000 a year. Okay. I mean, that may be more manageable. So you can then come up with a plan. What can I sell to people that is worth $250 or euros an hour? The fourth thing that you need to be able to do is to track your progress. Because in order to succeed with your goal, you need to see where you are in your goal. I mean, if you're driving down the road and you're not checking how close you are to your destination, I mean, you know, the way Google Maps and Apple Maps, they tell you are 21 minutes out, 15 minutes out. You now know, I'm on track. I'm on, and I'm going to reach my goal in the time that I thought I would reach my goal. So we do it all the time. We track our progress with everything, except when it comes to personal things. And the fifth thing, numbers are not my strong point today. The fifth thing is celebrate each and every achievement that you make. Okay? No matter how small it is. Start off with a small achievement. Hey, I made it to the gym one day this week. Yeah, that's really good. Oh my God, I made it 4 days. And soon it becomes, in a month, you've made it 4 days every single week. Celebrate those wins, but celebrate them correctly. I mean, if you say, I'm going to give up smoking, and then you celebrate with a cigarette at the end of the week, or a cigar, not such a great idea. If you say, I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week, and you celebrate by eating chocolate, not the best of ideas, perhaps. Okay? So that is very, very important. Now, any questions? I'm going to have a little drink and just clear my nose. And of course, if you have questions after the live, you can always leave your questions in the comments and I will answer them. Now, let's talk about SMART goals. So each letter of SMART has a meaning. And I'm going to show you the meaning that most people say, and I'm going to show you the meaning that I believe you should be looking at. So the first thing is it has to be specific. So if you say, and comes from Tony Robbins, he always says, I'm in the audience and I'm talking to somebody and they say, I want to make more money. And he says, here's $1. Now you've achieved your goal. It wasn't specific. Okay, so you need to say, I want to make $50 a day extra. But I think it has to be special. I think the goal has to be special for you. And you'll see why when I talk about what stops us achieving our goals. So that's the first one for me. It has to be special. Common wisdom says it has to be measurable, but I think it has to be a meaningful goal. And it has to be meaningful to you. It has to have some meaning to you. If it's just, I want to, build an extension. Well, why do you want to build an extension onto your house? What is behind that? Well, I want to put meaning into it because I want to see that my family are taken care of, that my parents can live in the extension. Whatever it may be, this goes back to your values and your priorities as well. It has to be achievable, or what I prefer to say is it has to be action-based. Okay, so you have to be able to take some sort of action based on it, or when you write out your SMART goal, there has to be some action attached to it. Because a lot of the times what happens is we write out our goals or we think about our goals and we feel much better. I mean, I'm sure it's happened to you. You've joined the gym and you instantly feel better. You're like, yeah, I've accomplished something. I've joined the gym. And you go, well, yeah, I mean, you have to accomplish a little bit more than just joining the gym, but we don't take action. The next thing is it has to be realistic, or what I like to say is it has to be reachable. Now, what do I mean by that? If I have never run a race in my life and I say, I want to do the New York Marathon in the next 6 months, that mightn't be realistically, it might be reachable. But if I am somebody who has trained for marathons, it may be really realistic for me. So make your goals realistic. Make them reachable, because what you don't want to do is set an enormous goal of, I'm going to earn $50 million in the next 12 months. And I know a lot of people say, shoot for the stars and you'll end in the moon, or shoot for the moon and you'll end in the stars, or whatever the saying may be. And yes, you need to make a goal that is a little bit beyond your comfort zone, but you don't want to have it that it is so crazily big that you have no way of reaching it. And then that gives you negative feedback that you kind of go, oh, well, I didn't reach that. And the last thing that you want to do is you want to have it time-based or trackable, so that you know that you will reach this goal within 6 months, within 6 weeks, whatever it may be. And you may break down the goal. Within 6 months, I want to run the New York Marathon. Within 3 months, I want to be able to have run whatever it is, 12.5 miles. Within 3 months, I want to be able to run 6.5 miles. Within the first month, I want to be able to run 4 miles. And you have broken it down. Because if you say, I'm going to be able to run 26 miles in 6 months. I mean, it's huge. It's gigantic. I mean, it seems unachievable. Okay, everybody okay up to now. And again, if you're looking on the replay, do leave a message, and I will let you know the answer to your question. Now, why do we not achieve our goals, nation? And I'll tell you why tomorrow. No, I'm only kidding you. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why now. A lot of the times, what happens is we say, "I'll do it tomorrow." The mañana syndrome. For those of you based in Spain, you'll know all about that. But it's the idea of I will do it tomorrow. Okay, I will do this tomorrow, and this is one of the killers. Because why don't we do it today? I mean, why don't we even make the first step? I mean, after this live or after you watch this recording, you can take the first step, which is maybe write out what you want, even just the first draft. That's all you need to do, but just take action. The second reason why we don't achieve our goals is, and thank you for the yes, the second reason why we don't achieve our goals is a lack of motivation. This live is actually sponsored by Mercadona Tissues. Thank you, Mercadona. So, a lack of motivation. Why would we have a lack of motivation? Because the goal doesn't fit in with our values, because the goal isn't special to us, because you're doing it for somebody else, and your heart is not in it. So you don't get motivated. Have you ever done something? I mean, you've spent I'll tell you what, I've spent 4 hours researching a product that I want to buy or researching a gadget I want to buy. But if you said to me, watch this program or watch this French course or German or Chinese language course for 4 hours, I'd say no, because I wouldn't be motivated, because it's not something I want to do. But when I watch videos about gadgets or how to do something, I'm super interested in. So I am motivated. The third thing that stops us is distractions. I mean, we have the mobile phone. Just as we were talking there, I saw a message from somebody coming up, and I thought, "Oh, I need to look at my message." Or on the Apple Watch, you have this problem as well. So distractions are a huge thing, and I think we get distracted super easily. I think we verge off and think about different things, and sometimes because we're not motivated, because the goal isn't something that we really want, we allow ourselves to get distracted easily. And I think the last problem that can come up is a lack of support. You don't have people cheering you on. You don't have the support of your partner, of your friends. Sometimes your friends won't support you because they will say, "Well, who are you thinking that you're going to go over and live this lifestyle and be free to travel wherever you want and to be a digital nomad, and I'm going to be stuck in my 9-to-5 job. I'm not going to support you on that." And that's their issue rather than your issue. Okay. Phil, anybody else who's on, any questions? Because it's now or never. So this is why I think it is so important to create goals. Because by creating goals, we have something to work for. By creating goals, when the going gets tough, you can look at why you are doing this. I mean, if you're working for yourself, if you're working hard in a company, if you don't have a goal, you are going to say, "Why am I doing this?" And then you suddenly go, "Well, I don't know. Well, I'm just doing it for the money." Well, that's not a good motivation. You need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Okay, so really, really important. So the next step, if you are interested, is I want to put together just a 5-day goal setting challenge, and I'd love you to join me. And all you need to do to find out more about this challenge is send me a direct message or just leave a comment, challenge, in the actual comments. And that's it. And I'll send you all that information. I want to start that in early January. Definitely not the 1st, maybe the 2nd or 3rd of January. I want to set that up. But it's just 5 days to get you started on the right path. And if you're interested, just send me a message, leave a message underneath this video, and I will get back to you. So guys, that's it. A super simple way to set your goals. Remember, let me just go through it again. You want to identify your values. You want to set smart goals. You want to make a plan. You want to track your progress. You want to celebrate your achievements. And you want to make sure when you set your SMART goals, they're specific or special, they're measurable and meaningful, they are achievable and action-based, that they are realistic and reachable, and that they are time-based and trackable. Because I mean, if you say I want to earn 50,000 extra, you could do that over the course of 50 years. It's only €1,000, $1,000, $1,000. Okay. And I'm going to leave it at that, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this very quick, very simple goal setting. And if you want to see more live about getting yourself out there more as a HR person or just as a regular person, you can always reach out to me and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Thank you very much and see you in the next live.